Cool. Let's start the session. Welcome to Bharat Edu. So if you're watching the recording and if you wanted to join the live session, please note down this meeting ID and from tomorrow onwards you can attend the live session. Cool. Now let's read this particular problem statement and understand what to do. The problem statement which we are solving is based on if-else condition. I know there are multiple ways to solve the problem statement. We are starting from scratch. So each and every problem statement, first we will tackle with if condition. Once we are done with that, then we will discuss the problem statement based on for loop and so on. Cool. Let's start. So what this problem statement says that whenever you are reading the problem statement, there is some story which you need to ignore it. For example, Mr. Electro got the electricity bill of his house. Whether it's Mr. Electro or whatever his name, or whether it's electricity bill or water bill, doesn't matter to me, right? He felt that the bill amount was too much. He come to you to understand the relationship between the amount and the number of unit with the electricity bill. Cool. Whether he understand that or not, it does not matter. So can I say that this entire is in story and it has nothing to do with the problem statement? Do you agree with me? If yes, we can move forward. It's clear, right? Just give me a minute. Let's move forward. Let's say for the first 50 unit, the cost of consumption is rupees 0.5. For the next 100 unit, for next 100 unit, the cost of consumption is 0.75. And for the next 100 unit, the cost is 1.20 per unit. And about 250, the cost of consumption is rupees 1.5. Let's break it down. So can I say that when my electricity consumption is between 0 to 50, the cost is rupees 0.5 per unit? When my electricity bill is between 51 to 150, the cost of consumption over here is 0.75 per unit, and 151 to 250, the cost of consumption is 1.5 per unit. Is this clear? And if it's more than 250, that means if it's 251 till infinity, the cost of consumption is, oh, sorry, it's 1.2 here and it's 1.5 per unit over here, right? Apart from that, there is an additional 20% surcharge. Cool. So whatever the electricity bill is, we will add 20% to it. And then we have to round it to the nearest integer. Let's take an example and understand. Let's say sample input is 150. If you have to calculate for 150, what is your bill? Can I say that I can break 150 into two parts? One is 50, one is 100. Is it fine? I can break 150 into two parts. First part is 50, the second part is 100. Yes or no? Yes. For the first 50 unit, can I say that the charge is 0.5? And for the next 100 unit, the charge is 0.75. So total electricity bill will be 50 into 0.5 plus 100 into 0.75. If you multiply 50 by 0.5, it will be equal to 25 plus 100 into 0.75 is 75. So total equivalent is 120. Do you understand how to calculate the electricity bill? Is this particular formula clear to you? If it's clear, we can move forward. It's clear, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's say your electricity consumption is 10. Can you help me? What will be the bill for 0 to 50 unit? Per unit cost is 0.25. If let's say your consumption is 10 unit, how much charge you have to pay? Can I say that simply 10 into 0.25? 10 into 0.25? And if it's, let's say it's 49, then 49 into 0.25, right? If it's 50, can I say that 50 into 0.25? As soon as value becomes 51, can I say that the way I am computing the electricity bill will change? So for 51, the cost will be 50 into 0.25 plus 1 into 0.75, because from 51 to 150, the cost of consumption is 0.75. Is this clear to you? Now let's say if it's, let's take 120. Can I say that it is 50 into 0.25 plus 70 into 0.25? So if value is between 51 to 120, can I say that this part of calculation is same, right? If you want, you can take one more example, 130. 130 into, if it's 130, it will be 50 into 0.25 plus 80 into 0.25, right? So can I say that this part is same if the value is between 51 to 150? Let's take it 150. So it will be 100. Agreed? And this particular values keep on changing. How you will calculate that? Just take it as a simple mathematical problem statement. How you will come up with a formula such that it should work for all the units of 51, 52 till 150. Can I say that? Let's consider it as x. If you're computing it for x, can I say that it is 50 into 0.25? This particular part is fixed, right? Plus something over here into 0.75. Can you help me what this something is? For 51, it's 1 over here. If value is 120, it's 70 over here. If it's 150, it's 100 over here. So what is the value over here? In this case, can I say that it is 51 minus 50? Same thing I can say for 70. 120 minus 50 will give you 70. And over here again, 150 minus 50 will give you 100. So can I say that the number of units over here would be x minus 50? Because for the first 50 unit, you know that cost is 0.25. So you computed it over here. For the remaining units, you have to compute, right? So the remaining units would be x minus 50. Do you agree with that? Ankita, is it clear? Right? Uh, Similarly, from 0 to 50, can I say that if you're computing it for x unit, the cost will be x into 0.5, x multiplied by 0.5, right? So we come up with two conclusions. If it is between 0 to 50, if it is between 0 to 50, cost is x into 0.5. If it is between 51 to 150, the cost is 50 into 0.5 plus x minus 50 into 0.75. 0.75. Similarly, let's take an example and then we can come to the conclusion. Let's take an example. If it is 200, can I break this 200 into three parts? The first part will be 50 because for the first 50 unit the cost is different, and the next 100 unit cost is different, and the remaining 50 unit the cost is different. So for the first 50 unit the cost is 50 into 0.5 plus 100 into 0.75, and for the last 50 unit the cost is 1.2. Agreed? Now let's say if it is 151. For 151, again I can break it into three parts: 50 plus 100 plus 1, because for this 50 the cost is 0.5, for this 100 cost is 0.5, and for this one the cost is 1.2, right? Let's say if it's 250, I can break it into three parts: 50 plus 100 plus 100. So for 50, 0.5, 0.75 into 1.2. Can I say that if value is between 151 till 250, formula is something like this: 50 into 0.5 plus 100 into 0.75 plus something, because it keeps on changing, right? For 150, this is different. For 151 it's different. For 250 it's different. For 200 it's different. So something is changing into 1.2. Can you tell me what this something is? It's a simple math question. It's nothing programmatical so far. Can you help me what this something will be? If something is greater than 150, let's take 170. For the first, for the first 50 unit, for the first 50 unit, we have already calculated the bill. For the next 100 unit, we already calculated the bill. Can I say that the remaining unit which are left is 20? Do you agree with that? So can I say that to this 170, if I subtract 150, I'm left with 20. So I have to subtract by 150, whatever the unit is. So x minus 150, if you are computing it for x, and you can see that this formula will hold true for 151, 200, and 250, right? Now, the last condition which is left, if it is greater than 250, then what? If it is greater than 250, so whatever the units are greater than 250, that will be charged at 1.5. So for the first 50 unit, it's 0.5. For the next 100 unit, it's 0.75. For the next 100 unit, the cost is 1.2. So for the remaining units, can I say that the cost is 1.5? What will be the remaining units? Can you tell me the formula? How can I know the remaining number of units for which I have to compute the electricity bill? For the first 50 units, we did it. For next 100 units, we did it. And next 100, we did it. So what is the remaining unit? Correct. X minus 250. Right. X minus 250, and it will work. So can I say that there are four such conditions? One, two, three, and four. So first of all, I have to identify which formula to apply in order to compute the electricity bill, because there are four different formulas. And for that, I should know what is the value of x. If x is between 0 to 50, then first formula, If it is between 51 to 150, second formula. If it is greater than 150 but less than 250, third formula. And if it is if it is greater than 250, the last formula, right? So there are four formulas based on the value of x. Uh, Ankita, can you help me which programming language you are familiar with? Based on that, we can write on the code. Are you familiar with Java? Cool. Cool. We can code it in Java. And alternatively, we can propose the syntax for C. Okay. So let me change the language over here. Let's go with Java. Can I say that for this particular problem statement, you have to first read, right? And if you want to read the value in Java, what is the first step? If you want to read the value in Java, what is the first step? Create the scanner class object. Agreed? Are you familiar with scanner class? Right? So I created the scanner class object and then I can read the value. Let's call it as x equal to sc dot next int. Similarly, we have discussed multiple times how can you read the value in C. So syntax won't change much from C to Java, but let's go for it. Now, can I say that if the number of units is less than or equal to 50, then the formula is x into 0.5, right? That will be my cost. So can you tell me what should be the data type for this cost variable? Should it be int? Should it be float? Should it be double? Float? Cool. Because it can happen that the value is decimal value, right? So cost equal to 0 and cost equal to x into 0.5. Now we discussed this in the last class as well. Now um, I have to check whether the value is between 51 to 150. So should I go for multiple if condition or I should go for if else if? What should I use? If, multiple if, or if else if? If else if, right? Because out of all the condition, one of the condition will be true based on particular value of x. If you're executing your code for a particular value of x, one of the condition will be true, right? So it's better to go for if else if. Good. Now, for if it is greater than 51, we computed the cost as 50 into 0.5 plus x minus 50. And don't forget to place the bracket and then multiply by 0.75. If you don't place the bracket, what will happen? It will first multiply 15 to 0.75, then do the subtraction. So it will yield the wrong result. Okay. And it doesn't matter whether you are coding in C or C++, this if else if syntax will remain the same or even in Java. The next condition was if it is, okay, I have made one mistake. Can you tell me what mistake I have made so far? I have made one mistake. Can you tell me what mistake I have made? If you see very carefully, I have written x greater than 51. It should be x greater than 50, right? Because if it's x greater than 51, for 51, neither the first condition will be true nor second condition will be true. Do you agree that x should be greater than 50? Yes or no? And second mistake I have made is x less than or equal to 150. It's a typo, but I made those mistake. So whenever you're watching this particular video or even in the live session, if you feel that there is some typo or there are some mistake, do point it out. See, maybe I would have taught this particular problem statement 10 times, 20 times. I can pull up the uh, correct solution for any of the problem statement and I can type exact solution that will yield you the right result. But if I do so, you won't learn from the mistakes because whenever you will code, you will make multiple mistakes. And the idea behind this particular course is you should know how to correct the mistake, how to understand the problem statement, and how to approach the problem, right? So you should also know to rectify your mistake. Cool. Let's move ahead. If it's greater than 50 and if it is less than 250, so cost will be 50 into 0.5 plus for 100 into 0.75, 0.75 plus for the remaining units are x minus 150 into 1.2. Uh, is this if condition correct or I made some mistake? And it's better to go for double, not float, because every time I have to mention f over here. Oh, you're not able to use the syntax. You would have you would have stopped me over there that you're not able to view the code. Okay, is it visible now? You would have corrected it from the last 5 minutes. We are discussing this. You should have corrected it. Oh, okay. So we are creating the scanner class object. We are reading the value and storing to the x variable. We declare the variable double, cost equal to 50. And if x is less than 50, the first condition, right? And if it is greater than 50 and less than 150, the second condition. And if it is greater than 150 and less than or equal to 250, third condition. Take your time, verify if all these conditions are true, we can go ahead and complete the code. It's clear. Let's go ahead. Now, can you tell me when it will go to the else condition? When it will go to the else condition? When the value of x is what? That it will go to the, when it's more than 150, correct. So 50 into 0.5 plus 100 into 0.75 plus 100 into 1.2 plus x minus 250 into 1.5, right? Now, if you read the problem statement, what does it says? An additional surcharge of 20% is added to the bill. So can I say that the surcharge which is being added irrespective of condition, whether it's first if, second else if, third else if, or else block, you have to add 20% of surcharge. So 20% of surcharge means cost equal to cost plus 20 by 100 into cost, right? Is the syntax correct? Do you see any flaw in the syntax? See, integer by integer will always give you integer. So let's take an example. What I'll do, system dot out of println. So just for the learning purpose, I'm initializing just the 0.20. Correct, correct. You can multiply by 0.0 or you can multiply it by 1.0 over here. 1.0 into, so it will convert into the decimal. So you understand, right? Integer by integer will give you the integer. So 1 by 2, if I will write over here 1 by 2, what will be printed? 0.5 or 0? If I will print 1 by 2, what will be displayed? Okay, let's take an example. Int, or even let's take double, d equal to 1 by 2. If I will print d, what is the result? The result will be 0.5, but you are getting 0.0 because integer by integer will give you integer. So 1 by 2 is ideally 0.5, but it will take the decimal part of it. Decimal part of it 0, so you will get 0. Similarly, if you divide 5 by 2, what you should get? 2.5. But 5 by 2, it's 2.5. It will take the integer part and will give you just 2. You understand why you got the wrong result when you do 20 by 100? If it's clear, we can move forward. You can see that we are getting 2.0. Is this part clear to you? Now, once you compute the cost, the problem statement says that print the integer part of it. So if you want an integer part, what you can do, you can simply typecast the decimal into integer and print it. System dot out dot println and over here I can write cost. Let's run the code. You can see we are getting the correct result and I can submit this particular piece of code. All the test cases passed. Can you tell me when this else if will be executed? When this else if will be executed? This else if will be executed whenever the value of x is greater than 50. If let's say value of x is 49. So for 49, the first if is true, it will never go to the else if. It will only go to the else if the value is greater than 50, right? So there is no point of checking this particular condition. Similarly, it will go to second else if only if the value is greater than 150. If its value is less than 150, it will execute the second if, else if. Okay, so that's a very small optimization, but yeah, it I won't say it's an optimization, but it stops you writing the unnecessary conditions, which is never going to be executed. We discussed this in detail in the previous session, so you can go through them. And as number of participation is less today,